Okay, welcome to Live Free Now show and the 7th Freedom Cell International Conference. Today, I'm multitasking, killing two birds with one stone, and presenting to a group of 167 people and also recording a podcast. So I would like to share with you guys some strategies that I have learned, some best practices just in the past 3 months as far as how to effectively organize your local network. So I live here just east of Austin, Texas, just on the inside of the city limits. And we have a pretty significant liberty community from the good old Ron Paul days back in 2007. There's a lot of crypto folks, voluntarists, agorists, a lot of spiritual people that are into yoga and art, and it's a great eclectic mix of people that are all tired of complaining and really looking forward to building, and they're focused on solutions. Chances are in your area, there are plenty of people, you just have to find them, that are also interested in solutions. The smaller the town, maybe some more conservative areas might not be the case, maybe some more progressive and big government Democrat kind of areas might not be the case, but you can find on the outskirts of most political movements and networks, there tends to be people that are a bit fed up with the status quo and that are looking for alternatives. And so regardless of where you are, really it's up to each and every one of us to take on a leadership role in order to go find more people. One of the common complaints that people have when joining the Freedom Cell Network is they'll go to freedomcells.org, they'll sign up, they'll put a pin on the website. You can put your own address, although I would advise perhaps putting a park down the street or a local coffee shop. And they say, hey, I'm the only person in my area. What's up, guys? And they're like, damn it, Derek, why don't you have more people in my area? Some people are like that. And then some people say, hey, there's a couple dozen people in my area and I've tried to organize a meetup, but nobody wants to show up or nobody's willing to meet. Well, these, rather than being problems, are simply signals of an opportunity for us to step out of our comfort zone if you don't have a history or experience with organizing, and to learn a great skill and tactic. As we've discussed already on the call multiple times, networking and community is absolutely critical for our success, our freedom, our thriving in the future. And this is only becoming more and more true as the tyranny and technocracy grows all around us. So for those of you that are feeling a little frustrated, see it as an opportunity to broaden your horizons. If you feel that you have historically been an introvert, now's an opportunity to step outside of your comfort zone and begin talking to people. Whenever you join the website, or if you're on the Telegram chat, the main Telegram chat, there is a manual of sorts that I've put together and that we've crowdsourced information and insights about. And it has some great tips on recruiting people, where to go, farmers markets, prepper meetups, the voluntarist meetup, gardening, homeschooling, whatever it may be. Also, whatever your flavor is and your vibe is, go where you can relate to people, right? And try to build shared value based on shared values. So that's as far as recruiting and people. But I'm going to go through a few steps right here. I just jotted them down at the beginning of the call, but this is what I've been doing and we have been doing in Central Texas. And I think it's really been working. I've been a leader and organizer and activist since 2002. So I have quite a bit of experience in this vein, whether it's political action committees, starting nonprofits, grassroots police accountability movements. But the beauty of the Freedom Cell Network, something that I enjoy personally as a leader, is that one of the things that I need to focus on is getting the word out about what we're doing. And then when it comes to the actual organizing, it isn't the case that there's like a CEO of a business or an executive director of a political action committee or a board of directors. It's a decentralized, open source, grassroots community where it's bottom up, all of the action and activity. And if there's something that someone's interested in, or something that an area that someone wants to dive into, or something someone wants to do, they don't have to ask for permission. It doesn't have to go through some sort of committee. They can present their ideas and they can run with them. And if there's interest, if there's excitement about it, then they can encourage other people to join them in their efforts. Okay. And so for folks that are already leaders, for folks that are stepping into a leadership role, I think it's important to, because a lot of people in the anarchist community, they're like, we don't want leaders, right? Really, it's no rulers, but there's a natural human tendency for there to be leaders and followers. And that's okay. There's no problem with that. And I want to encourage you guys, and as I'll share in these 13 steps here, try to foster an environment where people are encouraged and feel comfortable stepping up and taking lead on things and taking the initiative on things, and try to disincentivize and discourage a situation where everyone is dependent on one or two people in order to get things done. Some of the political action committees I've been involved in the past here in Central Texas, a lot of it, there was such a heavy emphasis on the executive director of the organization. And when they became tired and pulled back to deal with family or business or whatever, the movement and the network of the organization really faltered quite a bit. So it's really up to us to ensure that the manner in which we are organizing and imparting and engaging in this activism, we are conscious of the nature of this network, which really is a horizontal, grassroots-led, bottom-up effort. So let me share these little tips with you guys and these steps that I've done here in Central Texas. So, well, really the first step is to make a decision and to commit. That is to say, I recognize that there's major problems in this world, and I see the Freedom Cell network and this manner of organizing and this solution as a very viable one. So I am going to right now make the decision and make a commitment to myself that I'm going to pursue this area of activism, and I'm going to grow the network. It's kind of a manifestation, law of attraction. You commit, I got this, I'm going to grow the network, maybe set some goals. Okay, so the first step, besides that little stuff that's super important, is to make a cell on the freedomcells.org website. Join the website, freedomcells.org, sign up, consider putting an alternative address when you do the map, and then create a cell, a regional cell, a local intercadre cell, right? For the purpose of these meetups that I'm going to encourage you guys to host, try to do like a regional thing, right? Like, so we have Central Texas. And then as the network grows, there'll be meetups in San Marcos with the Hill Country cell over in East Austin and Bastrop, right? So try to kind of conceptualize that you're starting with a middle cadre. If you have a super huge group, you would start with a meta cadre, but you're starting with a middle cadre, which is like a regional group of approximately 64 people. Ideally, you build that group, and from there, at each meeting, you encourage the creation of local intercadre groups, right? It can start with an intercadre group and build out, or it can start with a middle cadre group and then deduce down into the smaller groups while maintaining the cohesion of the larger group. But really, a lot of the action and a lot of the working takes place with the smaller group. Okay, so make a cell on the site, make a Telegram group. Right now, we're using Telegram as the predominant means of communication. A lot of people have been encouraging us to check out Element. We may switch to something that's more open source down the road, but right now, Telegram, there's a strong network effect. It's a great app, a great tool. A lot of people of like mind already have. So make a Telegram group. You can call it the Eastern Oklahoma. I was at an event, a Liberty Festival in Spavinaw, Oklahoma, and was talking about, oh, there was someone from Oklahoma. There was someone from West Arkansas. There was someone from Southwest Missouri. And it was super cool to see that. And I was like, oh, wow. So you guys can have like a Oklahoma, Arkansas cell. And they're like, why would we call it the state, right? We want to move away from the state. We don't even want to identify as this state entity. So they want to call it like the Ozarks, with the Ozark Mountains there. There's bioregions, whatever. It doesn't matter as much, but try to do a regional thing, right? You make a Telegram group, then you make an event on the site. One of the really superb functions that gives me a lot of hope and excitement is seeing all of the events that are listed on the website all across the world. Super cool to see that. So you make an event on the site. If you want, there's actually some controversy at our last meeting about making events on Facebook. Some people were opposed to doing that. I checked in with the audience. 14 people from the 60-person meetup had learned about it from a Facebook event. So just whatever works for your group, figure that out, right? You can make it on social media. You can do meetup.com if you wanted. It could be word of mouth. It can be part of an existing meetup and an existing network or organization that's already operational in your community. And then you promote it, right? You push it out, you invite people, you reach out to people, You share about it with people, try to go on a local radio show, local podcast, publish it on Nextdoor, whatever. This is another thing that different people will have a different flavor on, right? My emphasis is get the message out to as many people as possible. Most people are going to ignore it, but the people that are interested, the people that are on the outside, the people that I like to identify as the remnant, which is every single person on this call, we contrast ourselves with the masses. The masses are the people that go along to get along. Sometimes they fail to even grasp complex concepts like non-aggression principle or decentralization, right? That's the masses. They never really changed the course of history. We're the remnant, the people that were spoken about in the Bible. I think it was the book of Isaiah, the folks that are going to pick up the pieces of society when it crumbles and rebuild anew. And that's exactly what we're doing. Society's crumbling all around us. We're not really waiting for a true downfall, failure, right? It's failing all around us. So we might as well start our work now. But some people don't want to broadcast and they just want to keep it word of mouth. If that's the flavor, again, that's okay. There isn't a top-down initiative or way that this works. And then the idea is that we all share information with one another. So maybe there's a group that's broadcasting it all the time and they end up getting in trouble for hosting an event during a lockdown or whatever. Maybe there's a group that's doing it more grassroots, word of mouth, but they realize that they fail to get off the ground, or maybe they do get off the ground. The idea is that we share information across the network, which is what I'm hoping to do right now, so that the entire network can learn and improve itself, right? And so you have a cell, like a cell in your body. The health of this individual cell determines the health of the whole body, just as the health of the whole body determines the health of the individual cell. It's this reciprocal symbiosis that's a very beautiful thing. So we share information, best practices. The point is, do what you feel comfortable with, consult with your fellow organizers. If there's an initial team, if there's an initial cadre, feel out what everyone's comfortable with and just plow forward. One thing I should say, my advice would be not to overthink it. The most important thing is to get an event scheduled, to get the word out about the event, to get people to the event, however you do it. Don't overthink it. Don't let fear control and dictate what you do. That being said, don't be naive and foolish and put yourself in danger from state retaliation or whatever. But at the end of the day, everything that we're doing is not illegal, right? We're not storming the Capitol building. We are simply growing food, working with one another, creating homeschool co-ops, going to the gun range, so on and so forth. We're not insurrectionists or doing anything illegal. So keep that in mind if somebody feels a little overly fearful about progressing with a meeting. However, in some areas, if you have a meetup, it may actually be illegal because you have more than 10 people. Consider doing it at a church. Consider making your home like a First Amendment church or whatever. I don't know. So the next thing is to host the meeting. So you pick a date. I generally prefer to have at least 2 weeks to promote things, but that's since expanded to like 1 month. The more time you have to promote it, the better. Ideally, this starts a monthly meetup. However, because there's lockdowns and COVID taking place, a lot of people have fewer plans. So, 2 weeks, 3 weeks should be sufficient. So host the meeting. If it's your first time to host a meetup, again, this is an opportunity to step outside of your comfort zone, to broaden your horizons. Start the meeting by thanking everyone for showing up, introducing the concept of the Freedom Cell Network. You can pull some information from the manual that we have linked on the Freedom Cell website or on the Telegram pinned message. You can listen to some of the videos that myself and Derek have put out in order to understand how to communicate the idea. Don't try to overcomplicate it. Sometimes I fear I'm losing people when I'm talking about the nature of the 8 groups and the middle cadre, inner cadre. What's most important is people working together. Okay, and then introduce the concept, maybe do a skill share yourself if you have some skills to share, or you invite someone to talk about privacy, permaculture, aquaponics, self-defense, whatever. And then ask the group, gauge the group. Hey guys, let's break out into smaller groups, right? So say you have 30 people at the meetup. Let's break out into 4 smaller groups of around 8 people. And let's dive deeper on some particular issues that the group is concerned with. What is the group concerned with? What do they want to focus on? I don't know. Let's talk to the group. Let's get the pulse of the network, right? If you have some ideas, hey, I want to offer up maybe permaculture would be good. Maybe responding to vaccine mandates could be a good thing. This is something that we've done at our meeting. I should say our first meeting had like 40 people. The next meeting had 50 people. The meeting after that had 60 people. So we're doing it. It's growing. And a lot of people, they don't have an opportunity to meet up with people in person or to hug someone or to shake hands. And so this is a really big thing. People we're like finding the other folks out there that kind of see that whether there's a virus or not. I know there's controversy over that. I think Bros will be doing a discussion on that coming up with Andrew Kaufman and some other folks. Whether it's over exaggerated or not, a lot of people are missing human connection. So to get out there and create an opportunity for people to connect with one another, shake hands, hug, talk in person, connect, right? Then that's cool. Another thing too, like if there's folks that are wearing masks and they are someone that's high risk or they're uncomfortable or they don't believe, as many people do, about COVID being exaggerated or hyped, try to honor that and respect that, not crack jokes about wearing masks and stuff. Although I do, but it's because no one's wearing a mask. But try to honor and try to meet people where they're at. Okay. So get consensus on the group as far as where those areas are, and then break out into focus areas. So at our second meeting, the focus areas were permaculture, food production, using land to create food. There was a cell on how do we respond to vaccine mandates, pressure, and social engineering. One of the big topics was transportation networks. Maybe we pitch in money as a community and we get some kind of timeshare on a private jet. Maybe we pitch in money and we buy some passenger vans and we allow people to check out the passenger van, or someone starts a little business catering to the Freedom Cell network, driving people interstate throughout the United States. There was a breakout on how to wake people up and recruit and find new people. There was a fourth breakout. It slips my mind right now. Then at the next meeting, we did the same and then I went and made Telegram groups for each one of those different focus areas. And I'll go into that here in a second. And then at the next meeting, there was someone that wanted to talk about privacy and encryption and using tools to protect. There are some folks that are interested in sovereignty and a loyal title and challenging the jurisdiction of a court. I think there's a lot of overlap in folks that are into the whole sovereign citizen thing, which I think is an oxymoron, but that whole line of utilizing legal precedents and understanding the true nature of the law in order to try to find freedom. I've always thought, just a quick side note, that with that strategy, make sure that you have network to back you up, because oftentimes the courts, they don't care even if you do have a solid, sound legal argument. They're the guys with the guns. So that's where you have strength in numbers, so you can really opt out, right? So there was a couple more groups that were made, focus groups, at this third meeting. So after the meeting, on the first one, I went and created these Telegram groups. And then in the Central Texas Freedom Cell Network Telegram channel, which has like 80 people, I created a pinned message that included links to those Telegram groups on those focus areas so people could further deep dive, right? Additionally, whenever someone created a more local cell, Central Texas is like Travis County and the surrounding counties, and it doesn't have to be something concrete. It's just like, okay, if someone's close enough, let's get them involved. There's already a Hill Country cell. There's a San Marcos cell now. So also on the pinned message, I linked to these more local cells for people that are in that area to get involved. There's a Southeast Austin one. Then I linked to all of these focus groups for people to go dive deeper in those areas. So from there, it's important, if you take on a leadership role, right, to foster and encourage action, creativity, communication. If you're going to be the admin of one of these groups, try to put a purpose in the pinned message. For example, we have a group of now over 800 people, the Global Freedom Cell Network, Organizing Freedom Cell Network group. And we encourage people, the purpose is to organize freedom cells and to connect people, and also to strategize on how the Freedom Cell Network can bring about greater freedom in our lives and in our communities' lives. That's the purpose. We still have people sharing the latest tweet from Lynn Wood, who's like the cat's pajamas these days, I guess, for a lot of folks. We have videos and YouTube videos people share. That's not what it's about. We've begun deleting that. And if people just continue or they get an attitude because we're like, hey, we're trying to focus on this group, you can create a subgroup if you'd like. And if it's germane to the Freedom Cell strategy, then we'll link it in the pinned message, but make sure that things stay on topic. If you have a group of just 40 or 50 people, then you don't really have to step into that admin role. But as the group grows, you're going to want it to stay more focused. And again, that's an area where it's up to your own pulse or the pulse of the lead organizers as to how much you kind of crack down on people, or as to how spontaneous or fluid you make it be. It's all up to you, whatever works for you guys. And so encourage discussion. Encourage breakout meetups in those particular areas. Come in and check in on how things are going. Help to facilitate action and activity. And I think that we can really really make some cool stuff happen. Where the rubber meets the road isn't in these monthly meetups or these semi-monthly or every few months international conference calls, right? This is just an opportunity to do some pep rallies, to do some strategy sharing, to do some announcements. Really, where the action takes place is in between these meetings, where it's up to you and your inner cadre and your middle cadre to come together to build a lot of stuff. Because I got to tell you, things are escalating very rapidly when it comes to tyranny, technocracy, and not only that, so many people are so hostile and divided with one another, whether it's Trump or Biden or wearing a mask or not wearing a mask in public, that this human connection and the work that we're doing has never been more important, in my opinion. And so I hope that in sharing these ideas and sharing these strategies and sharing these tactics, you guys can gain some inspiration and you guys can take these ideas and apply them in your local area. All right, that's my little piece. Thank you so much for checking us out. And I'll pass it back to Derek Bros.